it's Sue again. So welcome to part 2 of the Sweet Blossom blanket. I hope you've all had a really good week and I hope you've really enjoyed using all 10 colours in your blanket. It's lovely to see it growing and all the stitches developing. So now I'm going to take you through the stitches that we're going to use this week. So I hope you all enjoyed making week 1. I hope you really enjoyed learning all those new stitches. So now we're starting the second part of the blanket, and that is running from this pretty blue up until the end of this green. So I'll take you through these sections. So from before, you'll remember that you learned how to do the bobble stitch. So this will be a width. You'll be doing these beautifully. And either side of the bobble stitch, we've got some double crochet. So stitches you're really used to. We've got some more V-stitch, which gives that lovely texture. It's a really nice feel to the blanket. A little bit more of double crochet in this soft pink. And then we've just got some rows here of trebles. So a very, very simple stitch. Very rhythmic stitch, great for beginners when you're starting off, but great for more advanced crochets. It's a lovely relaxing stitch, so you can definitely be watching a box set while you do this. And then this week you've got a new stitch, and the new stitch this week is this yellow stitch here, and that is a shell stitch, just got one row of it. And then after it we've got some doubles. But don't forget, you're going to have a new tutorial this week telling you how to make this shell stitch. It looks so pretty, doesn't it? Then we've got some more of the V-stitch, which you've been doing. And then we've got lots of bobbles. So you're really going to become a professional at doing bobbles by the time you get to the end of this section. Loads and loads of texture. And then we've got some nice griddle stitch again. You'll remember that from week 1. That was the second stitch that you learned how to do. And that's made up of the trebles and the doubles. And don't forget, those other videos are still there, so you can go back to have a quick look if you want to recap. Then we've got some more granny stripes, and that's the end of this section. So just look at what you'll have achieved over 2 weeks. You're halfway there, actually. You're halfway there of the whole body of the blanket, so that's great. So this week's new stitch is shell stitch. So I'm going to take you through how to do that now with another one of these short tutorials. Right, well, we're going to start another stitch, and this is shell stitch, and it's a really pretty stitch. So I'm sure you'll have great fun with this. So because it's made using your treble stitch, which you're going to be so familiar with now, this should be nice and easy. So if you remember, it's 3 chain to start. So we're going to turn that round, and then we're actually, similar to some of the other stitches we've done, we're going to be working trebles into the same stitch. So we're going to miss 2, 1, 2, and into this stitch here we're going to work 5 trebles. So that's 1, 2. So remember, with trebles we're going through 2, through 2. So it's yarn round hook, through, pull it up, through 2, through 2. And we're going to carry on until we've got 5 all in the same stitch. So let's just check. I think I've got 5. So we'll count the posts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we're going to skip 4 stitches. So we're going to miss 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to go into this stitch here, and we're going to work another 5. What I tend to do when I'm doing a shell is I just hold it a little bit close together, because we don't want to have a big loop from the first shell to the second shell, and by just holding it like that, it stops that happening. So that was 1 treble, so that's 2. That's 3, 4, and then 5. Here we go. And then we have to count 4 stitches to miss now. So skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is the 5th stitch. I'll just show you what I mean. If we just went in and did a treble, there, can you see how we've got a bit of a loose loop? So I'm just going to take that back. And then if we do it again, but this time, we actually hold our stitches a little bit together like that and do it. Then we don't get that loose loop and it looks so much prettier. So now we're going to carry on. So that's the second, the third, the fourth and the fifth. There we go. So we've got 5 trebles all in that one stitch. Doesn't it look pretty? And so simple as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go into that next one there. I'm just going to hold those stitches together again so we don't get that loose bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I haven't got very many more on this row, so I'm going to carry on my little swatch and finish it off. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go into that 5th stitch there, and we're going to work 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm almost at the end. I think it'll be my last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pulling that together. So that's 1 treble, 2 trebles, 3 trebles, 4 and 5. So I've actually taken you to the end this time. So we should have 3 stitches here. So we're going to miss 2 and then we're just going to do 1 treble in the very end, like that. And that neatens up and evens out our row. So we started with a 3 chain and we finished with a 1 treble. I hope you've enjoyed that stitch. Right, so now that you've seen the tutorial for the shell stitch, I hope you're feeling really confident and ready to use it in this week's section of the blanket. And you'll also have the opportunity to use all of the other stitches that you've already picked up along the way. So just think, you've got 8 stitches under your belt if you're a beginner crocheter, so that is amazing. So what you might find if you look at your work, it will look a little bit like this with lots and lots of tails. Because you've changed colour so many times in these sections, it's really good to get to grips with this now and start to neaten those tails off. So if you remember, when we gave you our shopping list, we did mention that you would need a needle, a tapestry type needle. So I've got this one here. I just thought I'd show you quickly how you could neaten those in. So I've just threaded it to this green thread here, and I'm just going to work underneath some of the green stitches that I've done. So I'm just going to push that needle in. So you want to be careful that you don't actually split the fibres, so it's good not to have a very sharp needle, more of a rounded point. And I'm just going to pull that underneath. Now the green is actually going under the green stitches so that you're then not going to see this. And tails just have an absolute mind of their own, honestly. So sort of tighten them, well, sew them in neatly once, twice and even 3 times, because they just seem to want to unravel. So I'm going back over the stitches that I've just made. So I'm pulling that back out, and then I'm just going to go in a slightly different direction. Now I'm doing this on the back of my work, but really it's not really going to show on the front or the back. So I'm going back, under and over, just in slightly different directions each time. Now I've caught that in 3 or 4 different places, so that feels quite tight and secure. So I'm just going to get my scissors and snip as near to the blanket as possible. And there's one tail down. So you can see it's very neat. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to come undone. And I don't know about you, when my grandchildren have got blankets on their knee, they love to put their fingers through little holes. So you really need to make sure they're nice and tight and secure. Try not to leave all of these tails to the very end, otherwise you'll have so many tails to sew in. So if each week, maybe part of the process is also to neaten your tails. I hope you have a really good second week, and I hope you enjoy your new stitch plus all of the other stitches, and it would be great if you could share your makes with us, because I'd love to see how you're getting on. So if you could share them on our Facebook page and put a hashtag #ThirdAreMakes, and if you haven't joined, maybe join, because it would be lovely to see your work and lovely to share hints and tips and things with you all. See you next week. Have fun.